Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237. Coming at you with another random Netflix Hulu review. Just scrolling through, checking things out. And this is a film that I've heard of. I've heard it mentioned, I've seen it mentioned, especially on horror fan pages on Facebook. Whether it be good found footage films, recent films, scariest, most fucked up films. I've even seen it mentioned in that. Don't quite agree with it, but it definitely has something on the cover that made me nervous, but watching it, it was definitely a breath of fresh air as far as found footage films go. And it's 2014's The Houses That October Built. And yeah, what was on the cover says, any movie since like 2010 or 11 or 2000 whatever. It says from the producer or the creators of, I like Insidious and I like The Conjuring. But if it says Paranormal Activity or Sinister, any of those, I'm instantly like, fuck. Especially if it's, or The Possession, any of those films, any of those supernatural, paranormal films that just plagued horror. The Devil Inside, he produced that as well. That was a mega fucking rant. Oh, and that producer was Steven Schneider. That's the producer that's done all those. He also did Shyamalan's The Visit, Split, and Glass. Split pissed me off to no fucking end. Excellent movie, shitty ending. But anyway, this is another found footage film because just as I thought back then, when I see from the creators, producers of all those movies, I was like, because they can't do anything else. Either found footage and or ghost movies. This one is found footage, but it's not a ghost movie. I actually really like the idea of this film. And what it is, and I haven't really seen a film like this, like where this is the concept. And I think it works for found footage. As a fan, as someone who's not a fan of paranormal, supernatural horror films in general, save for some classics and very, very, very few diamonds in the rough of the past 2 decades, especially in found footage, this was a breath of fresh air. This was really nice to see. And I even like the title, like, The Houses October Built. And it makes sense for this film, because what it is it was directed by Bobby Rowe, who also stars in the film as the cameraman. Produced by Bobby Rowe and Zach Andrews, who's also in the film. Written by Zach Andrews, Bobby Rowe, Jason Zada, and stars Brandy Schaefer, Zach Andrews, Bobby Rowe, Mikey Rowe, and Jeff Larson, which all go by their regular names, kind of like Blair Witch. I would almost put this up there with Blair Witch as, like, one of my favorite found footage films. Again, Cannibal Holocaust doesn't count. But yeah, I would put this up there with Blair Witch, Rec 2, Quarantine. Yes, I do like Quarantine. I put this up there. So it's these group of friends. It's the week before Halloween, and it does do that shitty cliche where it opens up towards the end of the film. We see a little glimpse of something horrific happening, and then we jump back in time and work our way up. Yeah, I still think the only movies that have ever done that successfully is Goodfellas and Casino. But horror movies, I don't think really works that way. It's one of my least favorite cliches. But, okay, so it's Brandy and her boyfriend Zach, cameraman and driver Jeff, Bobby, and brothers Bobby and Mikey. They take this road trip to go around to America's scariest scare attractions. Like those cornfields or fun houses where they have actors that dress up like clowns, chainsaw murderers, creepy girls, scarecrows, whatever. They're going to all those to find the scariest ones in the spirit of Halloween. I have been to one of those attractions. It was actually out in the woods. They are kind of fun. Of course, I went with my friends who can't do anything without smoking first, so I was pretty high when I did it. But it was a fun experience. I'm glad I did it. Never done a hayride though. And basically, what happens is it hints towards there's some sketchy stuff going on with these scare attractions, and with each one they go to, things get not only scarier but more directed towards them, and more the familiar actors and costume people are showing up. They start getting taunted and fucked with more and more as it goes on, leading up to pretty much the scariest experience they could have. I thought that was a good idea. I mean, how many fucking possession or haunted house films or like ghost hunter found footage films can we have? I thought this was, I mean, if there's another one like it, I've never heard of it, but I enjoyed it. And the acting felt very natural, like Blair Witch. The chemistry felt natural. You have the guy Zach, who's sort of like the leader of this all. Like, he's the horror fan. He's the haunted, scary house fan. He's the one trying to get everyone riled up. I think it was Mikey. He's like, kind of reminded me of like Ryan Dunn from Jackass. He's the bearded guy that's always drinking beer, just pretty much treating it like a party. And at first, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie because it did feel like more so my kind of horror movie, but done like Paranormal Activity, where you just have just long scenes of where just fuck all happens, and then like a little creepy scene, and then a half hour of fuck all. But I did see the gradual build up. Also, it opens with a caption saying like how many of these attractions there are, in America, how many people go per year. I think it says something about disappearances. It could be wrong, and it said something about how this film was shot by, and then something about but it was finished by Blue Skeleton, which I don't remember if Blue Skeleton is a persona, because there's even a person in here named a Giggles that they want to interview, or if it's the name of the place. Feel free to let me know, because I don't remember. I watched this, I think, last night. And so yeah, it's really slow in the beginning because it starts off like they're interviewing people kind of normally, people with clown makeup, or they got like the black eyeshadow, they take their mask off, and they're interviewing pretty normally. But there's this one guy, they're like, what's it like working here? And he's just like, it's different. And, the camera just kind of holds on him, like, looking at them. You can tell he's hiding something. And it just keeps building. Each stop they make, it gets more and more insidious and sinister. The actual definition of the words, not the movies. Like, at one point, there's pretty creepy mask or makeup. This shorter woman or a child that has like looks like a porcelain doll, like a little bit of hair, and like the eyes are kind of messed up. But like her mouth, she can move her mouth. And they always park the RV like ways away out in the middle of nowhere. It's like a knock, and she just comes in and she just kind of does this like robotic look at everyone, and then just like lets out a couple of these like banshee screams, and then just gets up and leaves. Or there's one where one of the guys, he has to piss, but he doesn't want to wait for the bathroom. So they tell him to just go off in the bushes. And of course he goes way out in the woods. And he looks over and there's like a guy in a a bunny suit, covered in blood. He has an axe. He just keeps doing the creepy head tilt, switching the axe. The way it's shot, you know, with the natural darkness of the forest and the natural, you know, flashlight of the camera, and, you know, him running away and the camera getting all shaky, which is the image of that guy in the rabbit suit chasing after him with the shaky cam. The scenes like that, you know, they were effective. They were creepy. You know, it was one of the creepier found footage films I've seen since Blair Witch or Wreck. You know, I don't get creeped out by Paranormal Activity when I see the bedroom door just, or I see a cupboard, or some bullshit. Every 45 minutes, something like that happens. You know, I don't get creeped out by that. I get creeped out by, you know, other people doing shit. They wake up one day, they look at their tablet or their laptop, and there's pictures of each of them sleeping in the RV, and it's been uploaded to the internet. So someone has snuck into the RV and done that. They get to this one place where they want to interview some guy named Giggles. It keeps counting down the days until Halloween. I really wish I saved this film for October. That would have been. There is a sequel, but I'm probably gonna watch that soon. And you know, it all takes place sort of in like Texas, Louisiana, like the Deep South, Rob Zombieville. And just these guys take their camera, like people dressed as clowns keep like taunting them because they have the camera. Or they say, Giggles will meet you outside, but you have to leave the camera. So these other guys take it, and they go in the bathroom to, you know, almost assault Brandy. And it keeps getting creepier, and bit by bit, each friend, you know, each member of the group tries telling the guy, like, hey, this is getting more intense, it's getting less about the fun, more threatening. But of course, he's the moron that wants to keep going. They're even at this one spot in the middle of nowhere, and people are like, it sounds like they're throwing themselves against the RV, shaking it, walking all over the roof. They cut the power, but when they turn the headlights on, there's like 30 costumed people standing out in this field at night. Well shot. Again, this whole movie is well shot. It really did a good job at, not just as far as shots go, not getting the creepy stuff on screen, but in the creepiest way possible. And the next morning, they have a pumpkin that says "Carve Me," which they do, and there's an invitation that says, you know, blue skeleton, and they're each given a mask of a blue skull. And I'm guessing, I didn't know, I thought Mardi Gras was in the summer. I guess it's around Halloween, or there's another beaded tit and beer party around Halloween, or on Halloween, where they're pretty much abducted, taken to this well, one gets abducted. They're told to go to this place way out in the country. And, alright, before I spoil the ending, I did enjoy this film. I didn't at first. I thought the pacing was an issue. Same thing with Paranormal Activity. I got used to it. Well, that sounds stupid to say. Because it sounds like I put up with it. But the more I stuck with it, the bigger things got, and more frequently. It was a good build-up. Really liked the concept. You know, it's not these ghost hunter or possession movies of found footage. I like the idea of going to these haunted attractions or these scare houses with actors, and they start getting fucked with. You know, I like that concept. Costume design, great. The cinematography, well done. Especially during the scare scenes. The acting was very natural. I will say the ending sucked. Like most found footage films, it just kind of ended like, what the fuck? But, you know, it's how found footage ends a lot. But, so they go to meet whoever has their friend, and that's where they're abducted, and they're put in this scare house that is like the scariest they've been in, only now the people they see are not acting. Like the guy cutting through the door with a chainsaw, he's really trying to get to him. Or yeah, they really are trying to scare him. But the ending really confused me, because they put Brandy in this shitty wooden coffin with like bloody organs in it, and they bury her, which next to drowning, because I have asthma, so I never liked that, but being buried alive is one of the things that's always freaked me out in movies. It always has. Hell, my favorite Tales from the Crypt episode is the one where the guy gets buried alive. So, you know, there's like a camera in front of her face, so we see her getting buried. Even when the guys are throwing the dirt on her, did a good job with the muffling of the screams. But then it shows the cameras of the other guys, and they're in like well done caskets, you know, with like fabric and pillows. But it doesn't really show what happened to them. Guessing they got buried alive too. Why she got the dirty box, I don't know. I haven't seen the sequel yet, so don't fill me in just yet. I do know that she's in it, because I did watch the first like 5 minutes, then I had to go do something, but I wanted to see if it picked up right where it left off. I do know she's in it, but maybe I don't fully understand everything yet, because to me it still is just, oh, these people, they think they're getting these cheap thrills from these scare houses. Either because the end, there is an interview with one of the actors from like earlier in the documentary about how he can channel all his rage and primal instincts and just whatever he's feeling negative, take it out on other people when he's allowed to. So it's like, okay, do psychopaths go to do that for vicarious thrills? They got taken too far? Is it because they didn't like the idea of people snooping around with a camera and asking questions? Or is it because they were doing that, they wanted to give them the biggest scare of their life? Either way, whatever it is, I really enjoyed this movie. You know, it's not too often you come across an original found footage film, especially between 2010 and present. That's me being generous. Normally I say 2000. But I love the title, The House is October Built, because there's spook houses for Halloween. That's when people go to see them. Love the title. And I really liked the creepy scenes, whether it be the sort of doll girl that comes in the RV, or the guy in the rabbit suit, which at the end, when they all gang up on him, it's all the people from the movie. Like, they've been following them the whole time. I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to see the sequel. I hope it's like the collection type of sequel where it really expands the story instead of just doing what sequels usually do. But anyway, I've seen this come up on like the most scary or fucked up recent movies, and I get it. To each their own. Everyone has their own opinion. I wouldn't call it extreme horror. Like it's certainly not in that realm, but you know, for mainstream releases, and especially for the found footage and just everything else these producers have done over the past 15 years or so, I really thought this was a breath of fresh air. I really liked the idea, the concept, the costumes. I thought the cinematography was well done, even for found footage. The scares were effective. It was creepy. And even, you know, I like the look of the attraction houses. Even at the end, when it's supposed to be real, when they're really, you know, when they really are being fucked with and they're being held captive, it still looks like a fake house. It doesn't look like they brought into an abandoned house. Like, that's why I think they did a great job with it. I know this was filmed at those attractions, but this last one, you know, it really did look like an attraction house. It looked fake, but it had the charm to it. I liked that aspect. I really enjoyed this film. I highly recommend it. Even if you hate found footage or dislike a lot of found footage films for the same reasons I do, they're all ghost possessions and unoriginal. Definitely check this film out. But The House is October Built, I totally dug. It was a movie that surprised me. The first half, I couldn't get into it, just here and there. But I really got sucked into it. Ending sucks. They all do in found footage, but whatever. I enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.